Hey guys, welcome to Star Wars Timeline. My name is Ben. Today I'd like to talk about my experience watching the Andor show compared to the others that I'm watching at the moment, other steady stream of content we're getting from Star Wars comics and novels, and ask you guys a question in general. Are we getting spoiled? There's so much content and information going out there that I just wanted to take a breather, sit down, and speak to you guys. I know I haven't recorded one of these solo podcasts of mine in a while, so I thought that this would be a perfect opportunity to take a break from my shorter lore videos and stuff like that, and just sit down and speak with you guys and hear your thoughts. I want to interact with you. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I'm going to talk about the Andor show, obviously the other big elephants in the room, the House of the Dragon, and obviously the Rings of Power. Those are, I think, the three biggest items in a general nerddom, right? All the geeks and nerds are talking about it. The Twitter is fully engaged. On the Facebooks, there's heated discussions going about. So that's what I wanted to throw at you guys. Once again, I do apologize if you haven't seen longer videos from me, guys. I'm sort of kind of regrouping. I'm taking a break from my certain things, but please don't be worried. It's not that I'm abandoning the channel. There's constantly going to be more stuff there. I will still introduce book reviews. I'm picking up all the latest stuff. As you can see here, I'm just a little bit behind on my High Republic reading, behind on my Star Wars Legends readings that I currently do on the channel. But anyway, today's topic of discussion is Andor show. So let's start with that. Let's spend the chunk of the discussion there, then I'll jump to other shows and generally just present my questions to you guys, my concerns, my worries, and so forth. And don't forget, please comment in this video section. Let me know what your thoughts are. I love interacting with you guys. I'd love to hear what you have to say. We get a little bit of exchange on my Facebook group, but I'd love also to hear here in the video directly what you guys, especially newcomers to my show, have to say about this. Anyway, I have not been looking forward to the Andor show, to be honest with you. It was the same experience I had with Rogue One. It's a story that I raised a big question, like, hey, is this the movie that I want to see? Probably not. But after the first trailer, man, boy, was I excited. My younger brother, all my friends, we went to see it in theaters and we all really enjoyed it. It was like such a big and interesting surprise. And I'm experiencing the same with the Andor show. To be honest with you, as far as Disney Plus is concerned, some items I enjoy more than others. I'm a huge fan of Star Wars Rebels. I love The Bad Batch. I thought Visions was a great experimentation. But on the side of Star Wars live action, I wasn't super hyped. Like, Mandalorian is pretty decent. Don't get me wrong. I had fun with it. I wouldn't call that show great, but it left something to be desired for me. And from that point forward, things got progressively down. You know, the Book of Boba Fett, I was like, okay, all right. I had my quick fun with it, but it's a pretty forgettable show. And I thought Kenobi was the lowest point. Honestly, I wasn't a huge fan of that. But anyway, we're here to talk about Andor. Here enters Diego Luna. We're jumping in the first 3-episode arc right away, right? They dropped first 3 episodes all at once. And I was really glad that they did that because we get to enjoy a full chunk of a story, like a seeming arc that sort of pauses on a very logical and satisfactory conclusion. And we're like, okay, so what's going to happen next? Where we go from there? We know that there are going to be some time jumps and they're going to shift focus to other characters like Mon Mothma, which is already happening. So I really was surprised that we got 3 episodes all at once. And it really gave me a taste for a Star Wars show that I've been waiting for all this time. I really, guys, literally like relaxed in my seat. I breathed out. I'm like, oh my God, I don't have to sweat anymore. I have to worry about it or like go and engage people in Twitter wars. Here is finally a Star Wars show to me that treats the story seriously, that is actually taking Star Wars franchise seriously, and even all the little nuggets and Easter eggs and mentions from Star Wars Legends are not thrown in just for the sake of, like nostalgia. Oh, by the way, we're including Legends. Everything is so intricately woven into the show that I'm having a blast right now. So in general, I have to say it has good writing, it has strong characters, it has absolutely spectacular visuals that I felt is it's a step in the right direction because we're not doing volume anymore. Volume is good, don't get me wrong. It still looks fun. But now we have these sweeping eras. Even the way that Coruscant looks, guys, it just blew me away. But the show is a little on the slow side, I have to admit. I'm enjoying every episode so far. I thought the episode 4 was the strongest one. But if you noticed, I still haven't reviewed episodes 4, and I'm waiting basically to complete the next 3-story arc, and I'll actually review 3 episodes, because I feel like individually they just don't offer as much as I would have liked for my reviews. Anyway, what I'm trying to say here is, while it's the most enjoyable of Star Wars shows, I still feel like it's germinating, it's still cooking, and I don't quite know what to think of it. Like, it's, once again, I'm repeating it, it's the show I think is by far the best of Star Wars live action shows. But I still have that nagging feelings like, hey, where are we going with this? And this is the reason I'm making this podcast, because I wanted to ask you guys, are you experiencing the same, like, all right, so we got Diego Luna, he's clearly on point here, all the supporting casts are, doing their job, and obviously the story is going somewhere, but it's clearly slower pace than Mandalorian, let's say, or the Book of Boba Fett. Like, what's happening here? Is this good for Star Wars, or is this taking too long? Is this show too much of a niche for perhaps for Star Wars adult fans, that a lot of the audience, especially younger viewers, will be just lost there and be like, this is boring, I don't want to watch anymore, and this will result in the future of the show being probably cut shorter or entirely canceled. Who knows? I mean, the future of all these shows, Star Wars or not, it fluctuates. We don't know where it's going to go. So I was a little bit concerned there. I'm like, I don't know. It's like, man, am I spoiled? Are my personal opinions being influenced by what people are saying on Twitter? And obviously, every Star Wars fan, myself included, is an absolute expert on Star Wars. And we have 25,000 different opinions, and of course, all valid. And how dare you tell me otherwise, right? And because of that, we start feeling that, I don't know where to go with this. But I have a very strong opinion on everything I watch and read. I would not imagine I'm the kind of person that outside sources influence my impression. But they kind of do. And I start feeling like the Andor show is like, come on, dude, pick up the pace. This is what my younger brother said. He's watching the show separately. And Joe said to me, like, hey, Ben, I'm liking the show. It's good. You're right. It's probably the better ones that they've gave us so far. But I don't quite know where it's going. And it starts, I'm beginning to feel a little bit agitated about this. So again, comparing notes with you personally, like, is it just me? Am I expecting too much of this show? Am I rushing too fast into it? I grew up with 80s action and fantasy movies. I enjoy slower paced stuff. I enjoy feature films that were staple an hour and 30 minutes. Most of them were that format, and I enjoyed that. So I don't know. Then we got The House of Dragon. I'm the sort of Game of Thrones fan who actually enjoyed the last season. I know it's probably a hot take, but I felt that the resolution was very in vein of what George Martin does, subverting expectations and dealing out the fates to the characters that you would not expect. And yes, there were plenty of storylines and character arcs that were completely abandoned. And I did see through them, but like, okay, all right, I guess this is satisfactory. I wasn't fussing about it that much. So when The House of Dragon came out, I was actually very excited about the show. And I gotta say, when I saw the first episode, I was freaking blown away, dude. To me, it was as good as the first season of the Game of Thrones, which clearly is the best one out of all of them. And since the first episode, The House of the Dragon sort of kind of slowed down. We noticed that there's focus is on the family intrigues and politics and people trying to outmaneuver each other, obviously fighting for the throne, and the dragons are being sort of paraded in front of us. It's like just flying and zooming through the screen, a couple of fire breaths here and there, but no major epic action scenes are taking place yet. Yes, there was one war scene on the beach, right, when the one of the Targaryen guys, the prince, he goes in and he fights in there. That was kind of cool, but hey man, where is more action? Like, I'm still feel a little bit unsatisfied. And once again, it makes me feel agitated. Like, Ben, are you spoiled, dude? You're getting a show with these massive production values, crazy visuals, like, I mean, the costumes, the way that everything feels, the castles. It is so epic. If I thought of myself 20 years ago, I would have been drooling all over it. Just to get a fantasy show that looks this good would have been enough. I don't think I would have been picking apart every episode, every story bit, and analyzing, oh, this doesn't fit over here, and this show needs to pick up the pace. I would have probably responded to it in a much different way. And comparing it to the Andor show, I sort of feel like they're in the same ballpark for me. Both shows I clearly enjoy, and both shows I sort of expect more from. Maybe it's just I got too comfy. I got so much content across HBO Plus, Amazon streaming service, Netflix, Disney Plus. It's just so much to absorb that you feel sometimes you need to take a break, which is sort of what I'm doing. And the last show I wanted to discuss, as a huge fan of the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, humongous fan of the Hobbit trilogy, I felt it was just as strong as the Lord of the Rings, and a casual fan of Tolkien literature. I did read a Hobbit. Actually, my father read it to me back in Russian when I was back as a kid in Russia. And when I came here to the US, I did read the Lord of the Rings trilogy, so I'm quite familiar there. I did not read the Silmarillion, so I don't know the plot there, the whole idea with the First Age. And I think it's actually to my benefit. I don't get to sit down on Twitter and engage with hardcore, diehard Tolkien fans and break apart what they changed around, what they moved, and things were different. Because, huge surprise, for those of you guys who didn't know, when Peter Jackson was directing the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the Tolkien estate didn't like a lot of the stuff that he was doing. Because guess what? He was combining certain characters into one for his films. He cut a great deal of the storyline there and lore, and he shifted and moved pieces around to fit on the screen. And I know a lot of fans, traditionalists, didn't like it. They were like complaining, oh, Peter Jackson, what are you doing? You're ruining Tolkien's stories. Now, 20 odd years later, they're immaculate, perfect pieces. And now people are finding a bone to pick with the Rings of Power. I gotta say, I'm loving the show right now. But again, my perfectionist inside of me says, it's not perfect yet. Stunning production values. Absolutely amazing looking show. I mean, if you go and you look at the traditional Lord of the Rings paintings and art, especially by Tim and Greg Hildebrandt, which I got the fortune to interview here because he also painted Star Wars stuff, but him and his late twin brother, they painted some of the famous Lord of the Rings calendars back in the day. And if you go and check them out, this is literally what the show looks like. It looks absolutely immaculate. Each frame, each panoramic shot, it looks so brilliant. But it's also a slower paced show. They're sort of kind of rolling out the greater storyline to there. They're kind of alluding and hinting to what the major conflict is going to be. But we're still getting there. And once again, comparing notes with my younger brother, he's like, hey, Ben, you know what? Go and watch the show without me. It's kind of slower paced. I watch it on my own time. I'm also liking it. That's what my brother is saying. But something is missing a little bit here. I wouldn't say that something is particularly missing for me. But once again, I mean, I'm dialing up the perfectionist inside of me. And like, I'm such a critic. I'm like, I wonder where this show is going to go. Am I getting spoiled? Again, guys, please comment in the section below. Let me know. Like, we're getting 3 dope shows across the border. I mean, obviously they're not perfect. There's some writing issues in the Rings of Power that I find there. I felt that the dialogues are generally very good, but some of them feel like they're superficial, especially coming from the Galadriel. She constantly gotta rub you in your nose that you don't understand the stuff that I've seen, the things that I've been through. Like, all right, dude, we get it. You've suffered a lot. You're an elf. You lived for thousands of years. You've experienced things that common humans haven't. Like, enough of that already. I really enjoyed how Prince Halbert, or this strolling king that he's hiding there, how he talks down to her because she needs that a little bit. He took her down a peg when he was imprisoned, and that exchange was really cool there. But like I said, there was a little bit of writing there. It seems a little shallow for me. Not enough to ruin the show, but I got to point it out. I enjoy a lot of things about it. The Harfoot race. I loved Numenor. When the whole city was revealed, I was in total awe. I was like, holy crap. If this was me 20 years ago watching the show right next to Peter Jackson's trilogy, I would have ate it all up without any questions, without any doubts, and would have nothing negative to say about it. I love majority of the casting. I love Halbrand, I love Nori, I love Sadak Burrows, I love Arondir. The only one that stands out to me is Galadriel. She's kind of a bitch, man. Like, I honestly, No disrespect to the actress, I just don't feel that she's a very good actress, and I don't think this particular role was very well written. Because, again, please don't crucify me. This is my personal opinion. I love strong female leads like the elves in the Hobbit series trilogy. They were completely awesome. She's a little bit too ultra-feminist for me. Galadriel, she's like, you don't understand. Like, dude, are you the only one who experienced suffering? Your brother died for the cause. Like, we get it. I understand all the sentiments they're trying to express on screen, but the way that it's delivered is a little too strong for me. Like, chill out for a second, all right? Like, hang on in there. But once again, it's not too strong to ruin or spoil the show for me. It's just, again, I'm addressing my personal interaction with these three major shows. And don't forget, we also get a lot of Star Wars literature. We get the High Republic, but we're getting literally barrage, like Wave 2 and 3 and 4, and all these books got announced at the New York Comic Con just now. Like, I'm literally losing my pacing here. I need to slow down, chill out, and take a breather and say, Ben, is the Andor show perfect? No. Are you enjoying it? Heck yeah, I'm enjoying it. All right, House of the Dragon, how does it stack up compared to the Game of Thrones? All right, maybe slower paced, maybe not as much action yet, right? It remains to be seen. It could be another 15 seasons. Who the heck knows if the show will pick up or not. But are you enjoying it? Well, yeah, I'm enjoying it. And now, The Rings of Power. There was so much controversy around this show, Lord of the Rings and Tolkien fans going back and forth, all over social media, that I was so concerned. I was like, oh, man. This is going to be like an ideological war, some woke nonsense there, like ultra-feminists, like just debasing all males and just going all in and crazy about it. No, this show is dope, man. All the characters there, all the multicultural people that are put there, I honestly, I couldn't see a single instance of tokenism where they're putting an actor of particular ethnicity just for the sake of diversity and throwing in, like when you see the princess, the queen of Numenor, it makes total sense that she looks the way that she looks. They're portraying a specific culture of these like marine, ocean-born kind of like peoples, and they're a little tanned on the skin. I love that. It fits into the show. It fits into the lore. And honestly, I don't care if you're a Silmarillion perfectionist, you read the book, you know the material inside out. I don't care. I never cared of on-screen material fully replicating what we saw in the original source, whether it's a comic book, whether it's a novel. I don't care. I worked for 10 plus years in a comic book store, and I never wanted to see a perfect conversion of X-Men comic book on screen. Why? Because I already know the story. What's the surprise? What's the fun in that if they literally take you Stan Lee's original X-Men years and drop everything on the screen? I don't like that. I like it when filmmakers understand the source. They treat it with respect, but they play around with the material and they shift and move around characters and the plot lines in a way that makes sense and reinvigorates it and makes it fun and interesting and new again. That's what I like. You know what? After probably the first season of The Rings of Power finishes, I will probably go in and check in the book, and I'll make all the notes and bookmarks and say, aha, so this is how it was in the book, and this is where they took creative liberties. Does this make sense for Tolkien kind of voice and his kind of philosophies? Yes or no? I will be the judge of that. Not the internet and not everyone else, just me. Guys, so this was basically my little mini rant. This was me slowing down a little bit and checking myself and saying, Ben, like, what else do you need? You got 3 interesting shows, 3 shows that are not perfect, but you're having a lot of entertainment value out of. And at the end of the day, you can always turn off the screen and go outside and do something else if something dissatisfies you. So guys, once again, the whole idea behind this podcast was to ask my Star Wars fans, how do you guys feel about Andor? Are you like taking it extremely close to heart? Are you like overanalyzing every bit? And do you feel consciously that sometimes you need to take a step back and just appreciate the fact that we get more Star Wars? You know what I'm saying? Same for the House of Dragon, Game of Thrones fans and the Lord of the Rings fans. I'm pretty sure they're all intertwined. If you enjoy Star Wars, chances are you will also enjoy the other franchises. Please tell me, what do you guys think about it? Are you also like taking it all in stride and just enjoying it for entertainment value for all it is? Or are you being extremely kind of like detail oriented like I am? Anyway, guys, Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate all of your time, all of your support. Please forgive me that I haven't appeared and done longer videos in quite a while. I will promise to do so in the future. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care.